Check 1 2, check check. Getting this new microphone ready to go. Alright, this noise gate seems to be working. Let's get her going. Yo! I'm fiddling around with these microphone settings. As expected, but I think it's picking me up. Gotta figure out how to get this microphone to actually output on both channels instead of just left ear. Alright, am I cutting in and out? Check 1, 2, check. Talking about some drones. We got 3D prints and we got some drones. So it looks like it's working. Fiddling with these thresholds to see if I can... Alright, so when I stop talking it should shut off. Boom. Start talking. Alright. Good. Got some ambient noise, but... I think we should be good. What's up? What's going on? What you doing, internets? Got myself a nice little journal here. And what we're going to do is make a list of stuff that we're doing today, that we're going to be working on. It's all going to be drone and 3D printing related. I only got through so much of this drone build the other day. How the motor's connected, but I want to see if I can actually complete the whole thing today. I don't think I'm actually going to go out flying at all. Although it is a nice day out. It's just getting a little bit late. I think I'm going to leave it until later on in the week. Got this journal that we're going to put some notes in for like what exactly is going on. Got all these like stickers so I can kind of decorate it. Maybe we'll leave that for later. Yeah, so we got the motors on last time, and I also realized that this camera not going to be fitting in this frame very well, especially with like the little parts it came with. So I had an idea and decided probably print my own little mounts for it. Fit like right in between here. So we're going to do an experiment with that today. If I can pull it up, look at it. Where are we? There's Fusion. Alright, Fusion 360 right here. This part. Pretty rudimentary right now. Basically just a rectangle with some circles that should fit onto these little standoffs. Fit right in between. Mount a camera with a screw in here. Took all the measurements from the existing ones. Take like a lot of material. It's probably not going to be the lightest thing, but I think it would be a good prototype. Get the camera. It was a good place to start from. Yeah, so I have this file actually queued up here. How I usually get prints over. Got my print system and my streaming system. Export these and get them printing on the bed with some TPU, some flexible material. Okay, got this in the program here. Dump these guys right into this. We dump 2 of them into the slicer program for the 3D printer. We'll get those printing so we can start on the rest of the build. And these really shouldn't take that long, so we'll check them out. Yeah, so they're gonna go like right in between offs right here. Here. There, if I did my measurements right. I did, in between last time and this time, I did get some slightly smaller standoffs. Not a huge difference, but at 5mm is gonna make it real sleek. Make it real sexy. Alright, so let's get these going. Quick program, get them on this printer. Going. 2 of them. Fly by. All stuffs. Settings locked in here. Otter. Down, so it's a little bit more space. And I got my SD card in here. Prepare it. Oh, it's preparing flexible stuff. Which I keep in this box. Box of materials. Has 1 in it right now, but keep it in this box so that the moisture in the air doesn't get at it. I mean, it's not really airtight all the way. I think it's probably just slowing the amount of moisture that's going into it, but at some point we'll have to like pop it in the oven or find some way to get all of the moisture out of it because it starts printing badly. Waterlogged. Flexible, it's like sucks in the air a lot easier. Pull out over here a printing cam, right? You need like a little cam that can show this area with print cam. Put that on the list. Put that in our list. And just over here, I'm going to be pulling out this other plastic. Is this even picking up? Yeah, you can hear me. Pull out this other plastic here. Hard stuff. It's PLA. Real good for making Christmas gifts. Actually making these little reindeer guys. A little model that somebody came up with. It was a little janky because it was a little prototype, but making slightly larger ones and like give them a little glittery spray paint coat. I like that stuff for the holidays. Christmas cheer, holiday cheer. You know, reindeer, that's a Santa thing, but everybody can appreciate a good reindeer no matter what your religion is, what holidays celebrate. Hooked up. Which I maybe should have done before, but get it going so that it'll be done in time to actually use them to mount the FPV cam. But it's a little bit of a frustrating process sometimes. Cool. Alright, so and we'll get these things starting to print. Okay, save to the removable drive, FPV cam mounts, hyper low. It only take 15 minutes to print, actually. Save to the SD card. Eject. Eject, eject. A beach ball. Alright, there we go. a little glue stick on it. Stick better. Yeah, I should definitely get a 3D print cam. This is a webcam right here. It's just not gonna cut it on. I got a cam for my desk, but look at the machine. Alright, so check out that again in a second. So thing that we did last time, I could here. So bright. Alright, so we got the motors. Oh, we got the frame. Check. And we got the motors. Fired. Now we gotta do the PV cam. Light controller. What else? We need the video transmitter hooked up, and we need the controller receiver. I spell receiver, doesn't matter. Crossfire. And I think that's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna get like the top plate mounted and stuff. Get this soldering iron hooked up as well. You're up. It's so bright. Not at all. Trying to do like the Casey Neistat thing, you like artistic with it and write it, but it's probably going to need to be written. Yeah, but it's good to have a list and be able to actually go down, see what we're accomplishing as we do it. And I got a new little multimeter finally, so I don't blow up anything. I can actually check my connections before plugging it in. Make sure nothing pops and we don't have any unpredicted sparks or explosions. Got a flight controller. I think what I'm going to do first, I will need to hook up the video transmitter and the radio receiver. And there's going to be a lot of little wire soldering going on, but first what I'm going to do is make sure that the flight controller is going to be power. And we got two little pads down here underneath where the battery plugs in. That I also was thinking about putting a little capacitor in there, which basically just soaks up the power, makes it a little bit smoother as you're running amps through the drone system. This is able to kind of smooth the whole thing out, so you're not just on off. You kind of get nice waves of power up and down. But that might not be necessary because I really haven't had any problems with that. Thinking about that might be a nice little like backup thing to do. Just in case. Oh, but what stickers should I put on my thing, guys? I got a bunch of stickers from FPV Peeps, Joshua Bardwell heads. He's a new guy. The FPV know-it-all. Got some Vortex heads. All from these quad boxes. Might do a little decorating later. And we got our Hyperlow stickers and our little bot grinder stickers. Those are from the parts that I'm actually using right here. This Hyperlow frame and these bot grinder motors. Nice monster motors. Make a really nice build. I'm hoping it's going to be powerful enough to actually carry this GoPro Hero 7. These frames even come with their own GoPro mounts, which are kind of nice. They're a little bit big, but I like them. Or I always have the ones that I've been working on as well. Make sure that these surface. I think it's working fine for now. What you do have to keep doing is giving slack. There's this thing where you have enough flexible, so it starts like pulling the material and making what it's printing out a lot thinner because it's not able to like actually get the amount of material into the printing head that it needs. So by giving it slack, you're not like pulling the material out. I'm not sure how much that really affects it, but I like to just go over there and slack every once in a while. Alright, what are we up to? Got quite hot enough. On soldering iron. You can do it. Yeah, let's jump right into this solder process. If anyone's got some tune recommendations, I'm just playing some chill hip hop right now, some Christmas inspired stuff. 'Tis the season, you know. I love to listen to this sort of stuff when I'm working. One, because it doesn't have any lyrics and it's not distracting, but just nice background energy. I feel like a lot of people are on these chill hop streams recently too. I see streamers and gamers, and even I was in a Lyft the other day and she just had one of these, the driver just had one of these on. Like, oh, you listen to these chill hop streams as well. Sweeping the nation. Okay, we are now up to... we're up to temp. Let's get it going. Clean my tips. Remember to keep your tips clean. Boom. They're just a tad hotter. And oh yeah, I want to make sure my window is open so I'm not breathing in these noxious fumes. And up. So much easier with this microphone right here. I was wearing my headset before and I gotta take it on and off, but this is great. Hopefully the noise gate is working for the audio. I did test it out at the beginning, but sometimes it sounds people in different people's systems. Alright, let's get a little smoke. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Zoom her in. Get it close. Alright. Yeah, we're working on these two little pads right here. We'll get some solder going on them. Hot now? I don't know. Luck's happy with the solder and get it to actually soak into the pads. Oh yeah, I'm a little bit too hot. Oh. Problems with the soldering iron. Okay, there we go. I think I'm just not used to it yet. But what we want to do here is we need to get power to the flight controller. So we're going to be getting power straight in through the battery lead right here. and to this ESC. It's soldered directly to the ESC, and then we got to get that power up into the flight controller, the brain of the whole operation. So I need to just get a couple lengths of wire. I don't really care how long it is right at this moment, just as long as it's very similar. Figure out how long they should be. Leave a little bit of length for safety, but future modifications, but not so much that it's all hanging out all over the place. Oh, I need my... Yeah, I'm just using these as strippers right now. Yeah. My other strippers are getting kind of dull, so might as well just use this little clippers that you get with the 3D printing stuff. Cleaning up those 3D prints. Hope everyone's holiday season is going well out there on the internets. Yeah, I want to get this build finished up so that I can bring it to family's place back on the East Coast, because they're just always like, yo, bring your drones, it's so cool, we got all these people that want to see your drones. And last time when I was flying, I actually cracked one of my frames, so I need a secondary drone to bring home with me. Love to get this guy flying. Helping hands too, which are pretty cool. Helping hands are very helpful. I used to have some other helping hands, these clips, and it was terrible. Amazon is just great. You get anything on Amazon, needs a couple helping hands, it'll be here in 2 days. Thanks, Jeff Bezos. Oh, I want to make sure that we are keeping the chat open so that we can have a little dialogue going on. If anybody is so inclined to ask any questions or anything. Actually, I'll keep it open on this computer as well. So inclined to ask any questions. There we go. Okay. Now how this whole audio things work. These wires connected here. Not sticking to the pad, it just all came off. Strange. I used to have that behavior. It's the solder though. start off. That I've never dealt with that before, actually. Maybe it's too hot. Looks like there's some flux on there. Hot. Alright, let's start over with that solder bead. Too hot. This other one's stuck up though. Let's see if we can get this one. Oh, flow. So maybe it's not hot enough. Very crucial connection. Sure it's secure. Oh, yeah. Falling out of the sky. Yep. Same thing's happening. Water is not going in there. You have a little flux pen somewhere, which supposedly should help with this. Grab that pen real quick just to see if it helps at all. Flux pen. A little bit of rosin in here, and it should allow us to and now it's juicy. Just put a little bit on the pads. Allow it to stick better. I don't have a problem with this. I usually don't use it because I usually don't have a problem. Ads like this is kind of extreme. In there. Oh no. This is a risky business right here. Flux should help the flow and the temperature problems. We should those pads a rest and work on some of these other connections, the other sides of them. Straight to the board, and we can also test if it's something. soldering iron or if it's the solder pads in particular. They can perfectly find this. Might be those pads in particular because the factory puts some stuff on them. Just might need to work with them a little bit more. Up in here. Power. Let's aside for a second. Our 3D prints it finished too. It was very quick. A little bit of trouble right now. What I really should be doing is fire her. Autofocus is terrible. So, that's what I do. Don't rely on it. So, do it live.
Well, I just couldn't. I couldn't possibly tell you. It's here. Can you feel it? This whole room. This everything is in color, and I can feel the air. I can see it. I can see all of it. I'm part of it. Can't you see it? Like you're released, or you're free, or I don't know how. How do you feel inside?
Boom.
Yes, everything is. I am one with what I am. I can see everything in color. Everything. It's air. You can't believe it.
I wonder why it's not pads on the bottom are not cooperating. They have ways of making you cooperate. Alright, out real quick. Have some. Take a look at these 3D prints. In case there's any flaws or anything, we can just test them out real quick and get a new batch printing as well if we need to.
I've never seen infinite beauty in my life.
Did something stupid. I got a little bit of stuff stuck in one of the fans. So bouncy. Yeah, actually, I pulled the thing off and a little bit of a strand of the flexible material popped into the fan and it got caught up in the fan. So I probably have to go in there now and like clean out the fan a little bit because it just stopped the fan from moving, which is not good. So I'm gonna turn that off for now. Hopefully, I'll address that later. Hopefully these prototypes are gonna work for us, at least for the time being. They do seem like I already can see a couple of improvements I want to make on them. They're just the walls are a little bit too thin, and and I'd like to make those a little stronger. But try it out real quick. See if we can get see the positioning of them. See if they're gonna the way that I put them together, the way that they're designed. See if there's enough spacing for the camera, and that the little screws that they have for it are going to actually work for it. Like a recessed screw head side, and then the side that it right on into. Recessed on the outside. First thing is out of this. Correct. And immediately see made some kind of mistake with my dimensions here, because this is too long. So I probably like 5 millimeters too long. So I'll have to redesign that for next time. Does it, a couple other things though. Does it sit? So the holes fit. All good. A little bit too long. Sit in the center. Off the front part. How I got that measurement wrong. Been getting it wrong, or my math was off, or it was late at night. That's why the 3D printer is great, because you can just do multiple iterations. Thing doesn't work, you just reevaluate, make new prototypes, and it costs like a couple cents for the new one, which is the beauty of it all. That is not too bad. Work actually. It's a little bit wider. See in the flexible part is it's flexing out a little bit curved. Two ideas on that. It's that, well, we could just leave them bending. That wouldn't be such a bad thing. They are flexible anyway. You might as well just have a little bit of pressure so it doesn't move on you. The other thing I could do is the way that these are designed, very just symmetrical. Focus. Very symmetrical, right? So they're just two holes with like a shaft in between, and the holes sit right in the center of the shaft, but we can offset the shaft to the outside of the holes so that it's not perfectly symmetrical, but actually sits on the outside on the side of both of them. You actually have it on here, it would just be a few millimeters that way. That way they wouldn't be squeezing the cam. Have the perfect amount of room. So I'll have to remeasure that and also fix the fan on the printer before reprinting them, but that's alright. It's good to have a nice physical model in your hands so you can actually like see how strong they are. Yeah, that's another thing too. Remember is they're a little bit too bendy, like you kind of fold them too much. So I can give the support to the camera that we need. So what I have to do is increase the density. Oh, autofocus. There we go. Increase the density, so not so bendy. And I'm also going to increase the width of the part around the hole itself. That goes around the standoff, because that feels a little bit weak too. So good version 1. Nothing wrong with that. We'll just make next time. I don't even think I need to write them down. I think I'll remember those things. Okay, let's get back to some soldering, get this power system all hooked up for the flight controller. Hey, new follow is the Hawk Rider Heart. Heart, the Hawk Rider Heart. Follow. Appreciate that. Let's, yeah, we're gonna try these pads again. Now that they've cooled down. Solder's sticking to them, so we can hook up this flight controller power. Had this happen before. Zoom zoom. So when this is on here, that you guys are gonna here. That way I should probably length. Height. Get it tight. I want them traveling on the outside, actually. I'd rather have them protected underneath the board. That way, there's no way I can get the smallest frame. The smallest amount of space in a frame that I've ever built before too, so always new challenges when you're working with less space. I figure out how to like everything to situate properly. Because if you do it like this, then there's going to be wires sitting on the outside of the frame here. Possibility of something ripping those apart. The idea is to actually flip around wires. Up here. Focus. Around the orientation of these wires. Having them come in this way, we're gonna put them in this way so we can hide them underneath the board. Fine. Run into the SD card reader here for black box purposes. Run into that, but now they're going to be hidden under the board nicely. That way. Run them out the side like this. Now they're not like hugging the outside of the drone. Now they're actually hidden nicely underneath. This is going to fit.
Pizza.
I don't really feel like messing with these pads as much right now, so I'm going to continue with some other connections now that we have the wires on there. Oh. Notice this is actually backwards. See up front instead of later. Yeah, because this is the front of the drone, this is where the camera goes. Look at that. Other way. There. Down the length quite yet. Alright, there's a lot of pads on this flight controller. Yeah, this little wiggly thing, so you get the autofocus to obey you. You give it a little action, a little movement, and then it'll be like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be down here. Alright, but there's a lot of pads on here. A lot of them not going to be used since we're using a 4-in-1 PSC. All these are like speed controller pads on the outsides, but there's a bunch of cam pads and both for the OSD and to just actually power the camera. Also, transmitter pads. So I could look up all of the pinouts, but what I'm actually going to do is grab another one of my drones that's already working so that we can... what are you doing? Another one of my drones is already working so that we can use example as a model. Yeah, it's just over here. Give me a second. Another hyper low frame right here. The CG. This new one's called the Race Style. But I have the same electronic components in here. Good idea if I take off the top. Good idea of our wiring. I think I know how to do it correctly, but it's always good to have a working example because I'm very prone to making mistakes. These are just to get right the first time instead of having to go back and reopen the whole thing. We have this working model here. Work off of. 6 screws to go through. On. loose. Tighten all this up, put a little Loctite on it, so... Actually, these are probably not going to be Loctited since I do frequently open these up like this. Pop off the top. I have almost the exact same wiring that we're going to do in the other one here. Yeah, so we got the camera at the video back here, and we also have the radio receiver. This is a model. Let's get her right next to here so we can reference her. Focus. Focus. Okay. What I'm going to be doing is these three. Pin up the pads so we know what we're dealing with. Hot. Soldering iron actually heats up really quickly. Pretty nice little feature. I like the electronic version because the plug and perks like being able to heat up real quick. No problem with these pads. It's really just the underside. I think it had something to do with the factory. Pads that we're going to be using, like as a marker, for when we go back in, because sometimes I get confused between which ones are necessary and which ones are used for other like options. That's for the receiver, the radio receiver, and camera. Not necessary to actually run the camera through the flight controller, because it kind of, on its own. But if you, with this flight controller, if you do put a on-screen display on the camera feed as a pass-through, which is super helpful, because then you don't need a secondary on-screen display. Some people just use like camera. It actually just comes with a little voltage meter and stuff in camera itself, but the on-screen display that you can get flight controller and the software Betaflight is definitely better. It's just more customizable. These guys down here are going to be used for the video. So we're going to be coming from camera and free flight controller and then out to the transmitter, which is going to be this version RC. Makes this tramp, which is a nice little small racing transmitter. Previously on this one, well, we can get into that later, but they use a different type of transmitter. It's got a, I usually use the tramp, but try it out. Got some pros and cons. Decided to go back though, which, to be honest, I think the setup I have in here, the MMCX connection, instead of having like the full kind of braid, you just have the smaller one. Board is not as good. Amp's definitely better, but it's more compact and actually screws in, so it might have been better for this frame configuration versus this one. But I always like to just experiment with new things. If there's anything better out there instead of just good to stick to the same stuff, because then you know what you're going to get. Consistency, but the whole point is, you know, to experiment, right? Out there that's going to work better for you. Very frequently have revelations about gear and stuff, and I think I know what's best, and just by experimenting you always find some new stuff liking. Works better for one reason or another. Okay, got all this soldered up. Got to figure out what the wire situation. Oh. There. I have 5-volt ground video, and then I think there's a telemetry. That pad too, because we might as well get a. That's not telemetry. That's going to be. I'll look that up. I think I lost the little instructions thing. Probably not going to need it for now, though. Cut these to size. Well. Do is just make it double the length that I think it's going to need to be. Now I can just like kind of disconnect and connect with it. Wire, place a wire in. So really, this is going to need to be like that long, not. Run itself. Scissors here, should probably cut it all at the same time. Most of them. Okay, so the tramp in my mind. Down somewhere. Oh yeah. Just couldn't see it from the angle I was looking at. Sure. So is that gonna be have signal positive negative. Positive negative 5-volt. Interesting. Oh, we do still have the here's the pinout for the camera. That in a second, and ramp. Cheat sheets for the channels. Button UI in different languages. I'll have the same on here. audio. I don't have a microphone though right now. Pretty sure this camera does not have a microphone in it. 3-pin video transmitter and then VCAT. Positive, negative, and then we got 5-volt out, which yellow is going to be our signal. Let's start there. Remember that it's going to sit like this though. Fire stripper? Yeah, why not? Oh, and then last but not least, telemetry. Copper into the hands. Up. Out. I gotta get a better autofocus, guys. But I just got this DSLR hooked up. First, second time, still experimenting with it. Jump into buying a new DSLR right at the moment, but autofocus is not gonna cut it. This. Oh man. That is tough right there. That's some rough autofocus. My little tweezers, or not to use my little tweezers. How hot will my fingers get? Signal. Video signal, we got the 5-volt. Pin on the bottom of the flight controller allows you to change like exactly what voltage you're getting. Perfect. Last but not least, we got the telemetries. And settings in your video so you can control it wirelessly. Okay. But we might be connecting some of those other wires later, so we'll leave those just hanging around for now. We have the FPV cam wire. Also have, well, we actually have 3 FPV cam wire. We're gonna have the receiver wires, and then we're also gonna have the wire that's gonna connect some our flight controller to our speed controller. So that's going to pop right in there, and then the speed controller is going to have one as well. They rarely are unless you buy the same company, like a stack where it comes with both of them. Then you going to be different and splice them together. So that's the one wire I'm missing right now. Is the one for the flight controller, but the one for the speed controller is not sitting around here right now. Probably just hanging out somewhere, or it might be in my workshop. Oh, it was in a little... Yeah, wait. Oh. We'll get these other wires going in it. This is gonna... The camera's gonna sit right in front right here. Are huge. Super long. Button. Probably gonna sit like perfect. Double the length, just like the other. There. Hey, we got a new follower, VertXY. Follow. Vert? What is that, like vertical XY? You into coordinates and plot graphs, point graphs, whatever they're called. Algebra or geometry for a while now. Right, off these little guys. Need a professional camera puller, focus puller. The autofocus is not doing well, so wants to like my assistant camera guy sit here and just like change focus the whole time. Super exciting, entry-level position. Serious inquiries only. So, make sure the orientation of this is right. Yes. Left. It's going to be opposite. Back up. Not real fast. 400, 450, 500 Fahrenheit. Switching between Celsius and Fahrenheit now because I haven't looked up how to. Order from. Oh. Add more in there. solder to be happy in here. Solder bed. Wire home. Okay. Oh. This other one is for battery voltage, but I think we're going to turn that off because we'll just use the screen display that's in the flight controller. Customize what the battery voltage is going to look like in the video. Had rough, but they are secure. Actually. Perfect. I got a little Twitch smiley face. Work on this manual autofocus skills. Manual autofocus. We'll work on this manual focus skills. My autofocus is failing me. Twist like this. Off of the camera. Actual gauge of the camera. So we get a little heat shrink to protect the receiver. Wires. Have a black, a red. They use over here in a white. Space here. Okay, so white's going to be for the signal. .5 volt to the receiver. Boom. Well, cut down because I think pretty sure, well, guy right here, little teeny nano receiver for the radio, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be sitting right in the front. None of these components have really far to travel with these. Give myself just a little bit of extra length for take or I need to. There. Okay, so we got everything connected to the flight controller. Else. Inspecting some of these right now and anything. Most complicated part, like all that's pretty straightforward. Just get the right wires to the right points. This one's a little bit more complicated, placing the flight controller and the speed controllers because wires do something different. Sync up, so you just have to find the right ones and splice them the correct way. Good thing is that I actually have an example here. How they're spliced and covered up, but splicing action going on right here. So like within this connector, there's going to be 4 motors, power, battery voltage that the speed controller is seeing, and light controller so that you can see it, get out of it. Covered it all up with tape. Actually see which wires are connected to which. Maybe I'll pull up like a pinout on. Take a look at what that looks like. Browser for that. Okay, browser. Dark, guys. No more light. No more flying light. Missed a chance to fly today. That's alright though. I'll do it later on in the week once this build is working. What I'm gonna do is a little search real quick. That's oh, it's on the wrong. Okay. New tab. There we go. There's the internets. Up. And on this internets, what are we looking for? We're looking for the Crossfire Nano. Right there. A little image here because I forget. Because this is the other version. Parrot. Okay, so this is it right here. Yeah, this is it. Change the configuration so at the bottom here there's a little square one. But my board, that one. Pretty sure the pinout is exactly the same. Confirm it on my other build here. Yeah, so my other build, the ground is at the top, exactly like in this picture, even though the shape of these looks a little different. So we got ground 5 volt, channel 1 and 2. And these channels are used for... Oh yeah, okay, so channel 1 is the actual location from the receiver. And channel 2 is going to be connected to another spot on the bottom of the flight controller. Let's get that hooked up. I have these 3 already going, but I forgot that the yellow wire is actually used for something very specific. Spots down here. Ooh, is it 1 or 6? 2. Yeah, 2 pads underneath the board here. Right, and we got 1 and we got 6. Pretty sure it's 1. Take a look. So we're connected to the one closest to the corner. A little hard to see on camera, but it's definitely the one that's closest to the corner. We are pretty sure that receiver is on the first channel light controller. So there's like receiver one and there's transmitter one. As long as they're on the same channel, then oh, this guy went to sleep again. Yep, I gotta get into these settings. One, to change this to Celsius, but also change like the sleeping settings, and it's a little annoying because there's only 2 buttons on it. Same sort of thing like on a TV screen, clicking back and forth. Oh, what happened to the music? There we go. One. Something's weird with the bottom of this pad. On this flight controller, all these pads are having issues. Huh? Boom. Perfect. It's like a mess right now, right? It's like got hair everywhere. We'll be connecting all this and snipping them down so it doesn't look so haggard. About the top like this. Front. And black, red, white, yellow. If I remember correctly from last time, pretty hard to get these wires to actually sit. There's holes in it. I'll do this without. Guys have holes, wires straight holes, but it's pretty tough actually to get properly. Probably just be putting pads through the holes. Maybe we can get these into the holes. If we wanted to, we probably should have done. Snip some of this wire hair. We got light controller, a little bit of a haircut. Great, like here. For safety. Down my shot wires. Aw. Really easy with this little tool. Comes down to is it sharp or not. Wire strippers are getting pretty dull and sharpen them up. They're kind of cheap. Works really well, especially for the smaller wires. Black. Now we're reversed, so we got black, red. What was it? Black, red, white, yellow. Closer. Be pushing those wires, so we'll just connect them up. Both. Black, red, white, yellow. Keep referring back to our drone model. Solder on the wire first. Last one is this transmission one. Boom, there we go. That probably good. Be clean. Cleanly. Sit right in there. Put a little sticky tape in there. Another step that we have to do is heat shrink once we connect the last wire to it, which is actually the antenna itself. There. Shrink on. Connected. Or tension pulling. Final step though. So other than getting the antenna connected, we have the camera, we have the transmitter. The only two other soldering steps we have now are getting the power to the light controller, which I was having some trouble with before. Try that again, but spliced up correctly. That the other wire. I don't know where I put that. Cleaned up my desk earlier, and I think I probably misplaced it. Or it might be in my other studio. Cable over there. That in a second. Let's see. Properly. Tripping length going here. And also on the that one's kind of good. I have a little trouble with these. I bet. Why? Up. All around them. All around these babies. I think how this soldering arm is working, it's actually when I out, flip the soldering iron the other way, out, actually. Oh, it keeps doing it before I actually get it up there. But depending on, yeah. So I think there's a gyroscope in here, so actually, I think it's detecting when you actually pick up the soldering iron. When to sleep and when not to sleep, which is pretty fancy. Pretty nifty. Trick that it knows. On the chew pads. Wow. Steel pads. My other choice is to actually go to the main power lead pads. I don't really want to do that. X then. Not having it. What's on it? The heat should. Wrong with these pads. The other option is factory done solder points are here. Go on top of them, but no trouble. That's fine. Also, now thinking that the factory done solder points are probably part of the issue. On pad. Do it. Stuck in there. $100, $610, $620. I'm having a lot of trouble heating this up right now. In this tip, try again. Heavy. Oh yeah, it's pretty rough. Pretty rough. Grabbing, so maybe we shouldn't complain about it. Actually on the pad. Out of trouble. Smoky up in here. Here. So there, it's kind of rough since I was dealing with connection problem or connected. Not pretty, but That was my head. That camera's there. Head out of the frame. Alright. I think we're good. Okay, we got power. That's great. Others. Not gonna be. Do I have a? No, when I rebuilt this one, autofocus. When I rebuilt this one, I took the capacitor out of it. I'm working fine. Capacitor. And these little plastic nuts and rubber O-ring and some spacers in between these two boards. One of each gets me perfectly the height. Perfectly the height I need. Smaller standoffs. Tighter workspace. But it also means that less room to work with, but it also means that it's going to be center of gravity. It's going to be more slammed. The drone's going to be something about the taller standoffs was just not jiving with the aesthetics. Like I wanted that slammed. I want in supposed to be race style, so racing drone. Go all in on the racing, you know? All in on the racing. Yeah, I'm mostly using these for freestyle. Thought that this freestyle was kind of interesting. Comes down to it, they're all really similar. Especially freestyle. Not really even looking at what the frame can do performance-wise, as long as it's just like able to carry the camera you're using. Okay, yeah. So that spacing is going to be fine. What I got to do was race. Forgot to put that guy all rigid. Out. There. Yeah, okay. It's good enough tightness for now. Make sure that this is tight. Then we got a little sandwich going on here. We got the screw that goes all the way through. A couple pieces of carbon. And plastic spacer. We got the B controller. We got another plastic spacer. We got a rubber spacer. And then we got the rubber grommets for the flight controller. And last but not least, we got another little plastic nut. Another plastic nut to sit on the top and secure the whole stack tight. All four. And all that rubber spacing is soft mounting to reduce the amount of vibration that's going to the flight controller. To do a good job of actually reducing that to a point where it affect the accelerometer or anything. Just be floating on air. So I have all of my component wires all together except connection between. To work on next, I need to find the other wire. The last step is to actually print out working FPV camera mounts. Actually fit space too long. Probably make them a little bit more rigid and stuff. Mount the camera, and then this antenna too. And then those are the final two pieces right there. And we pop this top on, put a battery on her. Stubby antenna right here too. If I don't finish this whole build tonight, I'm probably going to flyer next weekend. If I actually can get 99% of this done, I can probably do it this week at some point. At the very least, just give her a little hover. Make sure everything's spinning the right ways and get the software. I wonder if I should do another live stream for setting up the software for something like this. Have both the protocols for the speed controllers, then also all of the setup I do with the flight controller and beta flight settings that we have for the FPV camera, filters, and the PID settings for how the drone actually flies. That might make a cool little session as well. Just 3D printing and drone programming. So let me find this other wire so we can do this final splicing. So that we can call it a night. Oh, for 2 hours now. Nice. I always flies by. Having fun putting drones together. Just making sure that this wire isn't just sitting somewhere. Like I covered it up with a little box or something. I think I out in the other room, so it's probably sitting on the table back there. I'm gonna go find it real quick. Give me 30 seconds. Put some checks in our list right here. Wait. Checks on our list right here. Got the all these things. Boom, boom. We got all these things done. The last step is to wire the boards together. And which will take a little bit more 3D printing work. We'll do that afterwards, just do little corrections in the mounts, do a little measuring, and do print, because that only took 15 minutes to print, I think. Off, but timer. Mount the FPV cam, also mount X antenna. And steps for next time are going to be program, load firmware, test the spinning in the correct direction. Alright, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to find that other wire. I'll be right back and we'll finish these other steps. Wire at... Where you at, wire? I think I found. Let's test it. So weird. I just tested it on the same exact flight controller, but the old version, and it's the smaller thing. It's just messed me up. I thought I had the right thing. I've upgraded it. So this is the wire I need. This is the same wire right here. Or exactly the same wire. So what I'm missing is the one for the B controller. And I know I had it on this desk somewhere, most likely. It's kind of like stuffed in one of these little crevasses from the last time that we did this. So I'm either going to just need to find it real quick, or what we can do in the meantime is back in one of these little crevasses. Another option that we can do is borrow the one from this drone side here, because it's going to be exactly the same, exact same components. So we can borrow that as a way to set it up and test it. And I either need to find it or one. I should probably order a couple spares anyway, so I'll probably do both. Possible, it's just, yep, there. Hidden underneath the helping hands, the not so helpful hands. Okay, this is exactly what I'm looking for. It's got the little bit of a wider connector. Okay, so looking up, go to the internets, good old internets, take a look at pinouts for this thing. We are working with the CL Racing F4S, and we'll just do pinout. Quick reference of what we're looking at here. I'm pretty sure this is the old one. This is what I was just looking at. It's like a little bit of a smaller connector there. Do we have the new one somewhere? Actual site, so Smo. So Smo. I can do it though. Go see that. Okay, let's look for the other one first. We're looking at the DYS 4-in-1 DYS 4-in-1 ESC.
Alright, I'll get straight to the point. I found marijuana in the house. And while I never thought of myself as the type of father who'd have to drug test his kids, I'm willing to do just
Okay, this is exactly what we're looking for right here.
this house.
Dad, Lucy found something too.
CL Racing F4S 1.4 pinout. Old one.
Oops.
So I actually just noticed that on the board itself, there's a little indicator on what each of these things are themselves, but I would like a visual.
Oh,
129 by 480, that's way too small. Okay, but if we look at this one, see that from top to bottom we got the power. What we're looking for is basically this battery plus ground and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So bottom up it goes 4, 3, 2, 1 ground battery. So we need to remember that. And then on the board, the flight controller board, actually the opposite. It goes top 4, 3, 2, 1. ETGV. ETGV. Alright, we need the pin out. I'm thinking that V is probably voltage. If I had to guess. Oh, you know why? Because this is version 1.5. There's a lot of variation in this stuff, guys. That's why people have trouble getting into this sort of thing, because there's just a lot of variation going on. A lot of things to remember, a lot of little things you gotta check, and making sure that the wire, it's not apparent at first. You know, people, including myself, have just trouble with all this variation and that. To actually look up what each thing is, and previously you just had to read all the manuals. Make sure you didn't throw out the manual. F7, that's not the right one. Go to the site. I just need to kind of open up the one that I have that's working and just reference that. I'm fairly sure. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. So look at this one right here. Got from the bottom up, just because we're not going to use these top ones at all. We got 4, 3, 2, 1 ground battery. Top, it's going to be the exact opposite. So, looking, microphone around. Looking at the board itself. Mess around with this. In. Looking at the board itself, got a little pin out right here, readout right here. So it actually goes 4, 3, 2, 1. It has a bunch of letters. CT, not quite sure what that means, but G and V is going to be grounded voltage. So what we're going to, and this also, the red and the black wires here too. First build? No, this is like my 5th build, 6th build, but my components keep changing on me. It's good that they actually have the letters printed on here now, because actually on the old version of the board they weren't even printed. You just gotta look at the pinout. Yeah, like, you know, one of those variations that down here we got 4, 3, 2, 1, but up here we got 4, 3, 2, 1. So we just got to make sure each wire is actually situated to the right sensor. Otherwise, my motor's going to be going crazy. Get these wires to length so that we can start splicing them together. Yes, it is. I asked so many questions. I don't even know which question you were referring to Yes, yes it is. Oh, maybe the variation thing. It's just highly varied. Yeah, this is like I think it's like 5 or 6. I've done a bunch of rebuilds on all of these, but I like to approach every one as kind of like approach it fresh, you know, approach it like it's my first build, maybe try something new in each one. That way, you're just always challenging yourself to something new. It's good to have a consistent consistency with flight itself, though. If you're like actually doing completely new things every single time, it's never going to be consistent. It makes it harder to learn how to fly, right? Because, you know, back loop. But trying new things is always good so that you can come out with something better at the end each time. Okay, so start one at a time. Bottom one right here is going to be 4. Top one right here. Back. First thing we need to do is just get this to size. Cut these wires down. Not traveling very far at all, they're right next to one another, so enough so we can work with it. Extra wiggle room. Oh. Boom. Wire pile. Okay, so just referencing this one last time. 4 is at the very bottom, and 4 should be brown wire. Go one wire at a time. This one in for stability. Ooh. That wasn't stripping, that was just straight up cutting the wire. Fun. Hey, leave yourself a little bit of wiggle room. In case you screw it up. Little teeny wires are pretty delicate as well. Good thing about, like, this actually has a second side so that we get some more tries just in case, but this one only has one. You can always splice another wire in there though. All around these. Process. Oh, I might need a little bit of heat. Sometimes what I like to do is heat shrink both sides, or put the heat shrink on and then slice it. You can. The other option is just to do a little bit of electrical tape on it. I have any sitting around here? Do I need to go grab that too? I think I brought some out. Yeah, before I connect them. Dang it. Oh, the other thing is I'm also just approaching this from a more basic point of view, just in case. I know that not everybody watching or tuning in is going to be the same level of knowledge of what's actually going on. So the more basic I can make it, actually understand and remove the jargon, kind of make it lowest common denominator. So I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of people who already know how to do this stuff that come in here and watch and they're like, oh yeah, I already know all this. Perfectly aware of how heat shrink works. I left my heat shrink in the other room. Tool case. Yes, I do. Everything in here. Actually, it's probably too thick. Got like a heat shrink variety pack at one point, but never used half the sizes, so I should really just buy the exact size that I always use. Now that I know which ones are useful and which ones are not. I'm gonna take some of this black. Level of know-how don't matter, only level of engagement. Exactly. How much, interesting to you? Is that what you mean? How interesting it comes off? How we engage one another, how we communicate. No, this heat shrink is gonna be too. Try it out though. Woo! Super. Yeah, that's way too thick. I have thinner stuff somewhere. It's probably in my variety pack in the other room. So all this stuff is pretty thick. These little teeny thin wires. What do I think of DJI? Oh, I love DJI. I have a lot more fun. Well, it's different types of fun, right? I have a lot of fun flying these FPV drones around. Just get a level of control that you don't with DJI. But I actually own 2 DJI drones as well. They're great for filmmaking and steady shots. And I've actually probably used them more often for professional work. People think of when they're like, all right, I want a shot where we're pulling out and we're going to get really far away, or we're going to fly past something and track it as we go. FPV drones, it's a little bit more of a jarring experience sometimes. I mean, depending on how you're flying it, but an acro look, people aren't as used to as like a style. Yeah, common way of like capturing, a flying shot. But personally, once you fly the FPV drones, like, you're not going out and flying the DJI for fun anymore, since these guys go super fast and flip around stuff and get through little holes, and you're not doing that with your DJI because you don't want to be crashing and ruining your 4K camera or whatever that's on it. But I've gone through a couple of DJI drones now, and I like them a lot. They're the only thing that I've used other than the ones that are custom built that are like actually reliable. Some of the other brands and models, they work fine, but every once in a while you just have these little hiccups or problems, and you guys seem to be the only ones that are like 100% on point most of the time. But I know a lot of people in this FPV world, they tend to hate on DJI, but they all for the stabilized cinematic systems as well. Wish I had like more of a bigger system too, like Inspire, because then you can get really intricate shots and magic, make it look like you're using a little jib or something. Okay, heat shrink. I'm gonna need to find a piece. Give me 3 seconds. Oh, I might be all out of the small stuff. Cost of manufacturing a DJI drone is in China's low. 9 niem is talking about DJI drones. Cost is in China's low, but they sell for very high here. Yeah, I mean, I think that's how the market tends to go. Like, depending on your competition, whatever, and sell it at a particular price point, and people are willing to pay it. It's valuable to them at that price point. You know, everybody could always be selling stuff for less, but then they're making less money. So, like a little bit of a trade-off. I'm not really sure of how much they cost in making China though. But compared to some of the other systems, I think they're at a good price point here. You can get stuff for cheaper, but less reliable, or you could get stuff for more expensive. But DJI just has the name now, right? The exposure and the brand recognition. Okay, I did find one little teeny piece. Little itty bitty piece of heat shrink that would be good for. I have some other ones, like some clear stuff. It's more of this itty bitty stuff, because that's what I do the most for. It's like all the splicing work on these teeny little wires. Okay, so we're just gonna cut little teeny pieces. Just go ahead and strip wires that we're going to be using. Without snipping them. 4, 3, 2. Correct. 4, 3, 2. 1, and then ground and battery voltage. All we're going to be utilizing are some hang out back here on the battery volt. Yeah, okay. Keep making sure. I want to go back. I want to come back and do anything. Back up to temperature, Mr. Soldering Iron. This for each wire. 1, 5 more. 5. Do them one at a time. Plug this in like this, and this is going to be, so this goes 4, 3, 2, 1, but this one goes 4, 3, 2, 1. Actually, if you turn it 90 degrees, on purpose, Or maybe it just worked out that way. Get a little bit of solder in each one and see if we can splice all these together. Efficient manner. Usually when I'm doing this, I'm just kind of like relaxing, maybe watching a movie in the background, splicing some wires. Doing it on stream is a whole new experience, just making sure I'm capturing it the right way. And I'm trying to be vocal about it and explain it as I go. So it's pretty fun, but it's also just new. Active. Passive, you know, chilling out on a Sunday and putting together some drones. But if we line these up perfectly, helping hands, we won't have to do too much work. Enough solder on there. Nice bead. Just actually just get it on the iron. Oh, and I just realized that I forgot to snip quality on these wires are better than the quality on these wires, just from the insulation. Future, I should just get the same manufacturer, because be more likely to fit together without 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we got 2 that don't do anything, or that ground and red for ground and voltage. These ceremony. Okay. Flatter I can keep it, the easier that it'll be with the heat shrink. Should remember to keep putting this on each time. I'm going to need to do some disconnecting as well. Myself down. Air keeps getting in the shot. Splice. Gas motor sensor wire. Ground and volt. Perfect. 2. People like me with big fingers. Most meticulous part. Meticulous and the slightly wing part is all this little teeny wire splicing. Dexterity for this stuff. Up. I need a little desk fan. Thumb list. You have some airflow going on behind me. Window right there, but desk fan is for the immediate area. Placing. On it. I just got make this heat shrink, activate it to actually make the heat. Shrink it with heat. You can just use a little lighter, but got a little heat gun action. Should make quick work of it. Got from one of these quad boxes. So if we plug her in, get all the heat shrink all aligned on joints properly. All lined up all at the same time. We're on it. Some loud ambient noise. This is about to get hot real quick. Hey! Right bleeding. Following. Appreciate the follows, guys. It's good to know that some people out there like this other than me. That's like at least slightly interesting for some other people. I find it's fun. Perfect. Hot though. Internal part that gets hot. Alright, so then we got our splice. pretty well. What I usually do now is just give it one last little coating with some electrical tape, which is around here somewhere. Put it all together, keep it nice, keep it tight. Wrap her up. I like to check it, sure it all works before I do this much wrapping up, because I'll just have to unwrap it again, wire off or something, but visually it all looks good, so I'm just gonna trust my instincts, just go with it. Up. Good. Go in right there. Hey, we can snip off all these other little ends. I might just fold them and give them a little electrical tape wrapping, just in case we want to use them in the future. Hide it in between. Yeah, we have it all wired up. Compare it to our list, which is hidden over here. We now have the boards wired together. Mount the VTX and amps that we're gonna need to do a little printing for this, and then we'll wait till next time to actually load the firmware and do a little hover test maybe after we get the firmware and the motor spinning in the right directions. But let's mount a couple things. This crossfire antenna that goes to my radio. This little front piece. Not actually made for this, but worked pretty well on my other build. Oh, I might end up printing out a specific mount for this antenna. But just doing that sort of thing worked pretty well. It's a little bit too close to the carbon. Better if it's a little farther away, but keeps it low profile. It's like nestled in there, and already printed, so I don't have to do anything else. Later on, I might actually print out something that's going to hold both the antenna or both antennas just in one mount. But I'll probably have to design something since not a lot of stuff out there for this frame. It's a little bit of a... They're pretty popular, looking at their group on Facebook, but a little bit not the most popular frame out there. Based on their Facebook group and the fact that Brain 3D prints mounts for them. Not the least popular frame, but not like a big company frame, pilot behind them or anything. Hyper low. That's why I got the sticker right here. Really high quality frame. Looking for one. Nice carbon. It's got a nice chamfer on it. Some of these popular frames are going over $100 now, which to me, I mean, it's probably valuable, worth it for the frames the frame itself, like what you get with it, but the frame is perfectly good for, you know, $60. A lot better than most $60 frames that I've bought before. Heat gun again, because drink. Ambient noise going again in the microphone. Kind of coming out the same side. Okay. Properly. Wrap it with this plastic. Cut the rest of it off. Scissors. Boom. Perfect. Okay. Heat gun time. Woo! That's hot. Woo! Let's get the tweezers up in there. That should be fine. Should be good. Yeah. Another thing I was thinking about doing with this is doing a little bit of conformal coating. Just put some brushable silicone and put it on the connections. Not very exciting, right? So afterwards, while I do some cleanup with the wires and everything, probably just gonna mount like right. Parallel and so it hides behind the FPV cam, but I won't actually situate it until we get the FPV cam in there and get it all positioned. But there's the radio antenna mounted in there properly. And lastly, we have a video antenna, which should have some zip ties around here. And through here. I like to use the double-sided tape too. I have plenty of zip ties, so let's just get. Also, yeah, so I was talking about printing a mount for the Crossfire radio antenna, but that might also include mount for not 100% sure. A little bit of flex is good. I think really it's supposed to mount, but it's just not going to fit ramp it here. Try this positioning as to see if it's secure and stable. Work for me. Technically soft mounted tip. Ooh. Put a little pop. You hear that little plastic pop? Just the plastic. Afraid I'm actually breaking something. There's a little bit of flex, which is good. I think that's gonna work. I'll try that for now. I might re-zip tie it later and make a mount for it like I did for this one. Check out this one real quick. I'm using a different kind of shape. But I was able to make a little flexible mount that zip tied in there and actually holds it real good and protects it. I might do something very similar. It's going to have to be a different measurement for this one because of the length of the wire and everything. Without the antennas. Right now, like that. The look of it is kind of strange too. It's like neck to it. I'll do this for now as a way to be able to test it, and probably going to end up 3D printing something for it, so it'll be better protected. That's really the gist of it right there. We have all of the hardware put together. Standoffs on. Handoffs on, and basically just need to hook up the camera to it, test it all. Modifications that we need, but hardware right there. Mount things better and clean it up, but look at that top piece on it, and that's the drone right there. That's the meat of the drone. Yeah, I like the look of this. Slammed. Slammed look.
Beautiful. You are beautiful.
Front ones. Yeah, but we put the battery right up top right there. It's gonna be a sweet drone. I like the look of it. Alright, so I guess the last thing, I mean, a lot of this cleanup stuff I can do later on when I'm just sitting around. Last thing I really want to do is figure out these mounts for this FPV camera. Obviously, I have a little bit of a problem right there. They're a little long. So I need to remeasure these and make sure that the line is correct. So I think in the last 10 minutes what I'm going to do is adjustments, measuring and making some adjustments to these. So like the weight good. Is good. Want to give it a little bit more infill, is what they call it, 3D printing, where it doesn't bend as much, there's more material in between. Yeah, I'm gonna spend like maybe 10 minutes just remeasuring this and making some adjustments to improve the design and make it work better. And maybe we'll actually 3D print them, see if we actually get to that point. Last time it did not take that long to get them out. Take a look at the program. Fusion 360 by AutoCADs. Check, check, 1, 2. I feel like when I come over here, the sound goes down a bit because I'm not facing my microphone. Pump up the jams a little bit. Okay. Turn on the Fusion 360 window. Alright, so here we go modeling this. Okay, so the first thing is that this was too long. Let this sketch a bit and see what we did wrong here. So I'm measuring this with the calipers. This is a total of 35 millimeters from end to end. So what we can do is draw a line. This will be close enough. Perfect. Oops. As long as it kind of... Oh, see? It already went off. I'm not a master of Fusion 360 yet, guys. Still learning how this... it's only been a couple weeks working with this program. Pretty sweet program, though. I saw a couple people on YouTube using this. Specifically, this guy named Martin, who is building a marble machine. And he uses this to model his entire marble machine. His whole assembly, which is super impressive. He has this band called Wintergatan. And he's been building that for a while, which is super impressive. And I learned about this program from him. I used to use AutoCAD in school for mocking up CAD projects, but Fusion 360 is a whole nother world, actually. Okay, so we can see here that, what did I say, it was 35 millimeters. For some reason this is 41.5, so I have my measurements wrong here. And I'm pretty sure I did this sketch like quick and dirty, so it's not perfectly, if you sketch it out properly, I forget what they call it, it's parametric. But basically, if you sketch it out properly, you can just change one or two of the dimensions and the whole thing will just react to it. Don't think I actually did that, so I might need to recreate some of this. But okay, first thing to figure out is why is it too long? Okay, so these dimensions, let's take a look at some of these dimensions. So from the circle to the midpoint is 17.5. We could do this in program, but I'm just going to do some quick calculations. 17.5. Okay, so that's where I did it wrong. So 17.5 times 2 is 35, but what I was measuring on the physical drone was this side to this side. But what I made 35 across in the program is from the middle of the circle to the middle of the circle. So really, I just need to shorten this length with the distance minus the radius of the circle. So if it's going to be 17.5 is the total length, and the radius of the circle, the bigger circle, is... Man, I made these dimensions pretty hard to read. 5... Okay, 6.5, and that's the circle, or the diameter. So 3.25. So I need to bring this in. 35 divided by 2. Yeah, I need to bring this in 3.25 millimeters. So that's going to be 14.25. Oh, it actually did. Cool. Okay. So 14.25 times 2. 28.5, and then plus the radiuses, which is plus 3.25 plus 3.25 equals the 35. Okay, so just need to do the same thing to this other. Yeah, see, I did not model this correctly. You should be able to change some of these dimensions. See what it did is it just pulled the whole thing down, which is not what I wanted. Okay, easiest way to do this. This is constrained so strangely. I just did this quick and dirty the other day. Easiest way to do this is probably to like create a new sketch, because it'll take me like half the amount of time just to make a rectangle and a couple circles, right? I just want to remember all of these dimensions so I don't have to like re-measure them again. So what I'm going to do is make life easy myself, and I'm going to write some of these down so I can just quickly, it'll only take me like 5 minutes to remodel it. I just don't want to do more measurements again. We have to redo that over. Okay, so we're going to have rectangle. That rectangle is going to have a circle. Zoom in. The inner circle is 5 millimeters and the outer circle is 6.5. We're going to make that a little wider, actually, because I felt like that part was flimsy. Let's just write down what it is for now, as is, and then we can make some adjustments. Okay, what about this rectangle? Like this, yeah. Okay, so this is gonna be 2. Okay, so this is 4 wide, 4 millimeters wide, and this is 17.5 right now, but really we're gonna make it 14.25 to correct the issue from before. And I think that's all of the dimensions, because it's symmetrical on both sides. Yeah. Okay, the only other thing I have to worry about is extrusion. It's going to be 9 millimeters. I did before. Okay. Just want to make sure for these we're going in -4. Stop. We're going in -2. So the middle one goes all the way through. And looking at this sketch, this other one is going to be 2 millimeters, and the bigger one is 4.5. This is to be able to recess the screw into it. And it's also 4.5 because that's half of the 9 millimeter height. So let's just go back and remodel this real quick. Maybe I can do it the right way this time. Get all this out here. I think there's a mirror command in here where I only have to do one side and it'll just mirror the other side. I'm not been through the beginner stages of this program yet. Oops. But there should be a mirror command somewhere. I could look it up, but that'll take some time. So, oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so we'll try that in a second. Okay, first we're going to make a line. It's going to be 14.25. Another construction line. We're just making some construction lines which aren't real, but we're going to use to measure some stuff. These circles are going to be non-construction, and they're going to be at 5 millimeters. Another circle, and this was 6.5 before. Let's see what 7 looks like. It's a little bit more than 2 millimeters. I mean, it's 2 millimeters in the diameter, but maybe it should be a little bit thicker. We'll do that for now. I'm probably going to need to do a whole another oh, interesting. Okay, I'm probably going to need to do a whole another iteration prototype of this afterwards anyway, because I only want to test one thing at a time. A couple more construction lines, and then we will take a rectangle, like bam. Okay, and then what we should be able to do is actually take all of these and mirror it. Make sure, yeah, okay. Take all these, and the mirror plane is going to be this pattern type: faces, features, bodies, components. Okay, so actually the mirror only works on objects. I don't think you can mirror the sketch. Is that true? Oh, no, you can mirror the sketch. This is a different command. Sketch, mirror, objects, mirror line. Boom. How would you stop telling me about my load disk space? Thanks. Okay. Select the mirror line, and then mirror all these objects. Okay. Nope. Didn't work. I don't know how to do it. So let's just do it by hand. I'll have to figure out how to make life easier on myself later. I'm gonna mess around with the program. Make a construction line that's 2 out, bam bam. And we'll make a circle that's non-construction. And it's gonna be 5 across for the standoff diameter. We'll make another one that's gonna be 7 across. And then we'll just take this rectangle. Boom. So now we can extrude all this. Select all the select all the correct faces. And hit the E key. And we say we want this to be, refer to our notes, 9 millimeters. Awesome. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that this is now, why is our center point wrong spot? Pretty sure that this is now going to be the right length. It's not going to be too long as it was before. All we need now is just one other sketch on this face, and just need the screw recess hole, and it's going to be 2 millimeters, and we're also going to have a 5 millimeter one for the screw head. Zoom in just a tad. Okay, we're gonna cut into it 4 millimeters to go all the way through it. And then with this one, we're also gonna cut, but we're only gonna cut down 2 millimeters. So that screw head sits in there nicely. Best hole right there. So this is pretty basic. I just wanted to make these a little thicker for rigidity, and now this is probably the right length, hopefully. Let's just take one more look at the full diameter here of this whole thing. Is that even possible? I think I need to actually production line that goes from, yeah, you see, it's still wrong. Good thing I checked it out. It should be, oh no, actually that's right. I said 35 before, but actually measuring the thing, it's 35.5. Probably just with the extra little bit for the circles. So this is, let's save this up, and we'll call it V2, and we'll print this out and see how it works. Stop sketch. See if this will actually hold our FPV cam. I think what's going to happen is this is going to be bendy a little bit, and what we'll end up having to do is take this rectangle piece and just offset it to the very edge of the circle, as opposed to right in the center of where the midpoints of the circles are. But I want to see how much offset we actually need, like measure it, because it might not be all the way to the edge. It might be like 1 millimeter from the edge or something. Or this, it not being perfect might be the way to go. Anyway. Yeah, it not being perfect might be the way to go, because that bend might give it a nice little squeeze. So I want to see, before I actually change it, either how much distance I need to change it, or how much that squeeze helps hold that camera in there. And then once we figure that out, then we can start seeing, like, okay, how can we shave some weight from this, because this is just like a big box of plastic. Like, I might as well taper this or just get some of the couple grams of plastic out of here, but it probably shouldn't be too heavy in the first place. Probably not going to be too heavy anyway, so it might be not worth it, but hey, any savings of weight on these drones is a good savings. Alright, now we're out of fusion. So I can print these up again real quick. I do need to fix the fan since I got a little bit of flexible stuff in there. And it got caught up in the fan, so I probably need to remove it and clean out the fan. It's been three hours and a quarter. It's not too bad. I mean, I guess I could continue doing it on stream. I just don't have a camera for over there, so you'd be looking at my back. I need to get a 3D printing cam, and in that way we can put a little, like, down in this corner, or maybe up in that corner, we can put a little secondary camera so as 3D prints are going on. You can watch those and see me and see the drone stuff, and we'll just cover the entire screen with cool stuff happening. But I think that's going to be it for right now, actually. It's probably going to take me a little while to figure out the fan situation, but I'm going to print some new versions of these guys up, and we'll take a look at them next time. Hey, Sprox, thanks for the follow. I appreciate the following. It's real cool to have some people interested enough in this stuff to actually hit that little heart button. I heart you too. I find this stuff super fun and super interesting. That's why I like to spend, at least my weekends doing this stuff. Also, sharing it and communicating it with you guys. It's cool to have some people interested in it as well. Because I would do it anyway, but because I just like it, I think it's fun. But having some people around to watch and to talk with is a lot better than doing it by myself. I mean, it takes a little bit longer to like figure it all out with people, but I think it's adds a lot of value to it. Scrounging the, Sprox says, dude, I love this stuff. Scrounging the money together, get started. Oh, nice. I'm glad to have another person in the ranks of drone aficionados or drone lovers. Yeah, it looks like he says it looks like a blast. It is. It's super fun. Just the whole process of getting something from just being a bunch of parts on the table into putting it all together and actually having that thing respond to your commands and fly through the air. And then not to mention, you're like flying like Superman. You put some goggles on and you're flying like Superman all around the park or whatever. I think we would blow Da Vinci's mind if we could show him this. And that's why I find it really fun. It's just the whole idea of congregating all these things together to make something happen. And the 3D printing part is a whole nother aspect to it, because I'd love to 3D print the whole thing, but obviously the carbon fiber is stronger. But being able to protect stuff and quickly iterate stuff and make modifications to make your life easier, actually putting this stuff together, 3D printing is number one thing. I mean, I've only started a few weeks ago. Oh, Fooler says, found you in 3D printing. Oh yeah, I put a little post up on there. I was hoping we would do some more 3D printing today, but I think I need to fix my printing fan before we go any farther with that. And I'm also looking into getting a third cam, so we can have a 3D printing camera going as well at the same time. And that way we can be doing this, having that going on in the background, having multiple things to watch and to learn about at the same time. But yeah, I'm glad to have you guys here. I think I'm going to call it night for now. We got through all of our major components today. I even got one more check to put in here. We mounted the antenna. We just need to mount this camera on here. And so I'll be testing out some 3D prints for that, and I'll show that to you guys next time. And then the last thing is getting the cam on there, but then the other two things are getting the firmware and the motors spinning, and we'll do that next time as well. And then we'll have a functioning quad to go fly around. Hopefully, getting this mount on the top too. Hopefully, we'll get a nice platform for flying my new GoPro around, which the GoPro itself does live streaming. So hopefully, we'll. I tried to do experiment with it last time, but it didn't really work out too well. Sometimes there's little bugs in the GoPro firmware, but hopefully we can get the GoPro actually live streaming to Twitch or Facebook or something, which would be really cool. But I'm hoping in the future, what I'm working on right now, what I got in the works, is figuring out how to get the video feed that's coming from the drone, live stream that straight to Twitch. So I gotta get a couple components together and figure out the whole Wi-Fi or 4G thing. But what I'm trying to avoid, which is not so bad, but what I'm trying to avoid is you can get a little screen and you can just watch the feed on that little screen, and then you just take your cell phone and you just kind of like put it on the screen, and so you can just stream from your cell phone to Twitch and then just record the screen. But I feel like that going from one camera to a screen to another camera, it just degrades the quality. So what I have in the works is trying to figure out how to like keep that quality all the way through, and also to make it a good experience, figure out how to like plug a mic in there so we can be talking and responding and communicating while flying around the park or a nature area or some buildings or abandoned buildings or whatever. Just be able to bring that whole streaming rig wherever and just hook it up and go flying, and we can do some 3D print and drone build streams, and then we can do some actual flying out in the field FPV streams. So that's what I got in the works. It probably won't happen until January, after the holidays and everything. But I'm super excited about that too. So thank you guys for everybody who came, said hey, and is interested and gave me a bunch of follows and stuff. I love that. I love the engagement. It's super great. It makes the whole process that much more fun just to be able to like share with some people. But I'm gonna call it, and I hope everybody has a good night. And hopefully I'll get one more stream in before the holidays. I know people are not necessarily like looking at live streams during Christmas and stuff, and I'll be kind of busy. So, but we'll get one more in and complete this build so I can bring it back and show my family the new build and fly around with them. So that should be fun. But I hope everybody has a good night, and I will talk to you guys later. Hey, Structure7. Thanks for the follow. Oh, you're very welcome, Sprox. I almost said Sprooks. You're very welcome, Sprox. Hope to see you again. And, peace. Later, guys.